Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, or Nikki, where I talk about everything beauty and beyond beauty, hence the name Beyond Beauty Collective, because I like to collect all the information I can and try to understand what beauty is. I am 43 years old. I'm American, but I live in Munich, Germany for like almost 20 years. Got out while I could. Yeah, and I don't know. I think maybe, first of all, I don't like these intros. They really bother me. I feel it's kind of weird, like I'm talking to myself. So next time I think I'm just going to dive into it. But anyway, I think I got really into beauty stuff ages ago. I mean, really, when I was a teenager, like many girls do, but well before Sephora ever existed, and this kind of like beauty craze where like almost every cream and lip gloss that you buy now, it's kind of gimmicky. I was really interested in beauty back when I was a teenager because when I was a kid, I actually had chickenpox really bad, like most of us did. I think nowadays there's even a vaccine you can take and you don't get chickenpox, right? But I did not have that vaccine at the time. I was born in the early 80s. I was around 5, I think, when I got chickenpox, 4 or 5, something like that. And it was a really severe case. I mean, really severe, like pox upon pox. And I scratched. You're not supposed to scratch, but I scratched. My mom worked and I was with my grandmother, and I wasn't being, I would say, I don't want to blame on anybody else. I mean, I was 5, but whatever. But I wasn't being watched deep enough, and they weren't putting enough, cloths on me and creams and things like that. Nowadays, there's other ways to soothe the itch much more efficiently than back then. And I scratched, and there's even pictures of me where I scratched and my skin was black. Long story short, it left me with really severe boxcar scarring. And if you're ever interested in what that is, leave a message. I'll give you some details on it. But essentially, it is scarring that's like this on your skin. And some of the deepest and most difficult scarring to get rid of. And I had it all over my face. I mean, I had 4 scars. You can see a little bit, maybe some of the bits here. You see they're white. I had these scars for years. Those are just 4 here. I have here a blotch you can kind of see. And I'll explain what I did over the years, but I don't really have these scars anymore. I have the discoloration from them, which doesn't bother me at all. But I had these deep scars, and on the side of my face here, I had about 6 or 7 in one chunk, and it looked really intense on my face. If I can ever find a picture, I'll put it up. And of course, for anybody out there who's ever suffered any severe acne or any deep scarring due to things that are just beyond your control, you know what kind of a role it plays on your self-esteem and how you value yourself and beauty. And so much, I mean, especially being an American, the emphasis on beauty is so intense. I mean, it's crazy. It's been like that for years, and there's so many double standards, and that's things we can talk about another time. But when I grew up, I felt ugly from a young age. Even still, like my nose, I don't have the cute little perfect little nose. You can see it's prominent. My nose isn't huge. If you were to see me in person, you think, oh, her nose is kind of smaller, but it's far out from my face. So in the camera, when you look at the camera, my nose looks really huge. I have big eyes, I have a big nose, and I have relatively large lips compared to some people I see out there. And this is natural, these are natural. No injections, nothing. The only place I have injections is Botox in my forehead because it's fantastic. But anyway, over the years, I mean, when I was young, they had only ablative lasers, where they completely essentially burn off a layer of your skin. Or they had an option where they would do like a suture and they would cut out the scar. They would go in, cut it out underneath, and then sew it back together on top. And that's essentially the scar right here that they did right here. These are the techniques that they were trying in the early 90s. I was a teenager when I had these things done. And I mean, I was broken. I was just broken. And not only that, I had acne. Not like the severe cystic acne that you see some people have, and you can tell it really hurts and like, oh my God. But I had typical teenage acne, but it was, I would say if you were to do on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 5 or a 6. I mean, I always had spots, always. And because of my skin tone, my spots would essentially, even if the pimple was gone, I would have a spot for 8 to 9 months. And then imagine every month you get 2 or 3 pimples, and it was just, my face was just covered in spots all the time. I looked terrible. I even had terrible back acne. Oh my God, the acne on my back was crazy. So my self-esteem was terrible. I always hated myself. I never thought I was worthy of having a boyfriend or of anybody ever loving me or liking me or finding me attractive. I think that was like my only dream ever. And then, you know, growing up and watching all these Disney films, and these beautiful, gorgeous, wafer-thin 16-year-olds who get married with, you know, blonde hair, and then there's me like, you know, that like one tooth was hanging out of my mouth, and the only thing about me that was decent was semi-decent were my teeth. And even then now, God. But yeah, these insecurities you just take with you your whole life, and these scars ruined me, like, internally for the longest time. And over the years, I just researched and researched and researched. And I think that's why I fell in love with beauty products, because I wanted to find a way to cover up my face as much as I could, make myself look different. And eventually, I actually came across something called microneedling. Now you guys know of it. Now everybody's doing this. They press them into their skin with the product already. I've been doing microneedling since I was 29. So I've been doing this for 14 years. I've been microneedling my skin for 14 years. And actually that was kind of how it started for me to really find a process that worked for me to heal my skin, for me to fix my scarring. And the first thing I learned, for anybody out there who's maybe watching this and having scars from acne or from a disease, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do anymore. I hate myself. I know how you feel. Don't worry, there's ways for things to get fixed. Maybe not 100%, but you can fix it 50%, 60%, 70% over time. And that's something, please keep in mind. Don't give up. It's a journey. It really is. I know that's it's terrible. People say this nowadays. It's not about the end. It's about the... It is though. It's about the journey. It's about the whole process. And it's not about finding one procedure that works. It's about finding many different procedures over time that work for you. So I started microneedling my skin. I actually worked, if you ever look this up, one of the first doctors who kind of discovered this method, his name was Dr. Fernandez, and if I'm not mistaken, he's from South Africa. I don't know if he's still alive, but the guy, as far as I remember, he looked great. And I worked with his #1 protege. And that guy microneedled my skin a few times. It was pretty cool, you know, to feel like I was a part of something. They even did it for free once because I went to a conference and they used me as a model. It was very embarrassing. I mean, I don't know how I managed it, but I got it done for free. And I thought, well, let's try it. And then I researched over time, and I actually found you could buy microneedles on Amazon. You could buy these things. And I watched video after video. And this is, you know, 10, 13, 14 years ago. What did I say before? 14? I always say 10. That's not true. It's 14 years ago. And I watched video after video to make sure if I did anything at home, I would be clean and it would be done right. And I was understanding the lengths of the needles and everything like that. And how often I should do it, not do it too much, stuff like that. I didn't want to ruin my skin even more. And I started over time to microneedle my skin once every 2.5 to 3 months. So I never did it more than like 5 times a year. I think the most I did it 1 year was 6 times, once every 2 months. And eventually I went to my dermatologist, who's still my dermatologist, by the way, and he's great. Sorry, I just see my little hair sticking out and bothered me for a sec. And he said, you know what we can start doing on your skin? He took the bits like this, and he said, we can inject hyaluron or even Botox or something underneath the scar to lift it. And I said, I tried that in the past and it didn't work because the scar tissue is so tight and pulled down through the dermis, right? And he said, no, but you've been microneedling for so long, you've broken up that scar tissue. You've produced new collagen and your scars are soft. They're not hard now. They move. They'll move. And he said, what we can do is we start to put bit by bit underneath the scar to lift. And then we do Fraxel laser. Fraxel was also kind of new. I started doing this 2016, 2015. So a couple of years after I had started, about 3 or 4 years after I had started microneedling my face. And that's what we did over time. Over time, I'd go back once every 6 months and he'd inject a little more each time into the scars. Inject a little more. And then Fraxel once a year. Not too much, But in the wintertime, because of your skin and everything, and lo and behold, over time, my scars essentially disappeared. They disappeared in the sense of depth. If you've had any scarring, you'll know later on in life, you'll happily take the discoloration over divoted skin. It's the worst. You feel like you can't go out in the sunshine. You can't have a nice day golfing. You can't go out and picnic with your friends or go to the beach because you're constantly worried about the shade of your face, or you pull your hair down and cover your skin. Anybody out there like that? I know, and I'm sorry that you have to go through it, because you're thinking about something so silly and stupid when you should be enjoying time with your friends or time with your family or your pet or the weather. And I get it. I totally get it. So I don't know, I went into this rant, but this is really important for me to talk about because this is something I dealt with. And I want anybody out there who's watching this to know you're not alone. And I've really done a lot of research on this stuff. And so I guess when I talk about me wanting to use the Lima laser, I always say it wrong. It's because I'm not a dermatologist, and I will never ever say anything to you, tell you to do this and do that. Every single thing I say, I will say, talk to your doctor, because there is no blanket solution. There is no one blueprint that just suits everybody. You need, sorry, my cat's scratching the door. You need to find something that's right for you. But if I do talk about my experiences and you have any questions, please reach out, because I think it's so important for us to exchange. And okay, he decided not to come in. It's so important for us to exchange and let each other know that we're there for each other, because this is tough. This is really hard to go through. And yeah, so when I do suggest something or when I use something, it's because either I've been using it for years or I've tried it 100 times in more than one way. It's because I actually do have an opinion. I think that matters. Even my dermatologist said to me, he's like, I love when you come in because I can talk to you a little bit more, not like a doctor, but somebody who understands, somebody who's researched, who doesn't act like a know-it-all, who wants to understand what's happening, who trusts the process. You have to trust the process. You have to find a good doctor, just almost like a therapist, somebody with whom you have a rapport, somebody that you trust isn't just trying to get, milk money out of you, somebody who wants to see you walk out of that room beaming, even crying from happiness, because a scar, you literally go in with a scar and they inject something and essentially your scar is gone. And that happened to me a few times. And I told my doctor, I mean, he changed my life, and he did. He changed it so much for the better. And just because of these little points, because of these half-centimeter things on my skin, it's terrible. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to talk about my journey. I want to put it out there because I think there's a lot of people that deal with it. Maybe they don't show the emotional side so much because they want to act like they're strong and they're dealing with it. But I'm not as emotional now because I've been working on it for so many years. But you're not alone. It's tough. Sorry, to close the door quick again because my cat keeps on opening the door. You're not alone. It's tough. But you'll find a way. It might cost some money. You might have to save up money for it. In Europe, some of these procedures are actually a little bit cheaper. Botox is cheaper. Injections are cheaper. Lasers cheaper. If you ever want to come for a visit, you can pay privately. But yeah, if I ever talk about stuff, it's because I'm trying things that I think might actually work and things where I've researched, and I do know a little bit of what I'm talking about. And again, I'm not a doctor, and I will never pose as one or act like I know more than a dermatologist. I mean, dermatology is changing so much. There's so many things and new procedures and new processes, things that they're doing with the faces, these non-invasive surgeries that they're doing they do the string with your neck and lift, and you've got extra skin, and the nose, they even give you an injection here to balance out the structure of your nose so that it looks like you've had your nose is more balanced. They're doing so many great things. And you have to remember, who cares what other people think about this? It's all about you and feeling good in your own skin, stepping out of your house. It's the greatest feeling. Also, with that said, with regard to the scarring, coming back to the pimples, I went on Accutane. Finally, when I was 35 years old. I suffered with acne until I was 35 years old, waiting for it to go away, waiting for it to go away, waiting for it to go away. And I'm like, nothing's happening. And I went on this rosacea medication that they have. You were only supposed to go on it for 16 weeks. And I went on it for 3 years. And one day I went to my doctor's office because I'd gone to India with a friend. I was there for 3 weeks and was on vacation, had a great time. But the water there is very different. There's different bacteria, different germs, all kinds of different stuff there. And, if anybody's traveled to India from the Western world, you know you've got to be really careful. You'll probably get sick at some point. And I, oddly enough, didn't get sick, but I broke out in pimples, even with this medication. My back broke out in pimples again, my chest. And I told my doctor, I said, I need more from this medicine. He said, no, I'm sorry. If you're not planning to have a kid right now, I'm putting you on Accutane. He said, this is ridiculous. You got to get off this other medication. I'm putting you on Accutane, 9 months. You're done. I'm telling you. That effer was correct. He gave me that medicine. I started in February. And within 3 weeks, my skin was clean. I didn't even have like a purging. It didn't even purge because everything I had was like sitting on top of my skin. There was like almost little to no purge like that. My skin cleared up. And I did. I went on Accutane. I went a light version of Accutane, or what do they call it? If they're tretinoin, whatever. Essentially Accutane. I think that's the official, that was a brand name that's off the market now, and it's isotretinoin now. That's what I took. It's the same thing. I took that, and it's a strong medication. I wouldn't just suggest that for anybody. You need to talk to your doctor. You need to check your body. You need to make sure that that's something you can handle. That's a serious medicine. It's intense, yeah? Make sure that you are changing your diet, making sure that your water intake is good, good meaning enough for you and what you're doing, making sure that you're using the right cleansers and the right creams, and your diet is good. Remove a lot of the crap from your diet. Do those things first. Let your body go through a couple cycles, see how you're doing, and then see if that's something that would work for you if you really have intense acne. My doctor put me on Accutane. And by the way, all those things were the case for me. I generally eat quite well, and I drink a lot of water, and I take supplements. Maybe supplements are still fake, but just in case, I still take biotin, and I still try to pack in some other good stuff if I can with supplements, if I know I'm not going to get it from my food. So anyway, I went on Accutane from February through December. And I have not had real pimples since. If you've ever seen any of my other videos, you maybe see a red spot here. That's an overnight thing. That's like just a small purge in my body from putting on a gel, and it's a slightly clogged pore, and it's gone the next day. I don't actually have pimples. Like, I don't have anything to squeeze, nothing. My skin has been essentially pristine since. Aside from other problems, after a while, you get used to not having any pimples. You're like, I don't need to wash my face anymore. This is amazing. My skin's so dry. I don't need to wash it. Went through that phase. I don't do that anymore. But so yeah, those are the steps I took to get my skin clear and looking nice. Right now, I am going to do my Lama laser, but I'm not going to record it. But I do want to hold myself accountable for it. Let you know that I'm doing it. This will be the 5th time, but this is number 5. And away from the first subject onto the Lima laser subject. I keep on switching it. Lima. I noticed that when I started to use it last week, my skin kind of started to peel. And I think maybe I was doing the laser, and then I was using all these different products that I have at the same time. It was a bit too much for my skin. So this time around, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the Lima laser, and then just the first few times use a cream on my skin, and maybe a micellar Vasa water just to make my skin prepped to be able to absorb the cream. But I'm going to keep it pretty simple and see if the Lima laser actually causes my skin to peel, or if it was the other products that I was using. Like I said in my last video, I did have Fraxel laser about a month and a half ago, going on 2 months now, and so I do have a bit of redness. I don't know if you can see it much anymore. It looks like it's gone down a bit because I've been using these other products. So I think what I'm going to do right now is just use the Lima laser and a simple moisturizer with, like I said, a prep of micellar water, just to see if the peeling actually is from the laser or if it's from all the products that I was using on my skin. So anyway, that's kind of an intro story I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Maybe I went a little bit like this, and I'm sorry if I did, but I'm happy that you know my background. I'm really kind of proud of it. I'm proud of what it made me go through, made me stronger, all that kind of stuff. And again, just for the millionth time, if you're going through this in any way, no matter what age you are, you could be 40, you could be 15, you could be 25, we can find solutions. You can find a solution. It's just a matter of talking to the right people and finding the right doctor and finding the right product, or even the right medicine if that's what you need. So yeah, if you ever have any questions, reach out. It doesn't have to be a comment. It can also be a message. If I can reach one person with this, then I feel fulfilled, genuinely, really, because just knowing that other people are seeing this and feel heard and seen and special in the sense that they're not alone, I'm super happy about that. So yeah, I'm going to continue with my Lima laser because it's late at night. And whoever's watching this, if it's day or night, I wish you a great day. I wish you a great night. And again, go to bed a little bit more comforted, knowing that you can figure it out. We can figure it out. And you're not alone. And no matter what you see on the outside, this matters the most. Yeah, keep that always in mind. That sounds kind of cheesy, I know. I'm not trying to get cheesy and deep and all that, but it's true. You know, you can't just look at the outside. If you just look at the outside, then we're all screwed, aren't we? Then we're all screwed. Well, again, have a good night. If it's nighttime, have a good day. If it's daytime, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.